Superintelligence needs more than language. Assuming that language models alone will not produce superintelligence, what else is needed? I asked Grok about this, but both Gemini and GPT 5.2 gave better answers. Gemini thinking. 1. Agency and goal-directed planning. The transition from a chatbot to an agent is the most significant hurdle. Currently, an LLM is like a library. It contains vast information, but it doesn't do anything until you walk in and ask a question. Superintelligence requires the library to start writing its own books and conducting its own research. Decomposition of complex goals. If you tell a superintelligence to solve climate change, it shouldn't just write an essay. It must be able to break that goal into thousands of subtasks, analyzing satellite data, simulating chemical reactions, drafting policy, and coordinating with other autonomous systems. Hierarchical planning. It needs a managerial layer that monitors progress. If subtask 412 fails, the system must recognize the failure and reroute its strategy without human intervention. The stop button. Problem: a truly agentic system must manage its own resources, compute, electricity, funding, to ensure it can finish its goal, which introduces complex safety challenges regarding how it views human interference. 2. System 2, reasoning, deliberate thought. Current models use a fixed flops per token approach. Whether you ask what is 2 plus 2 or how do we unify general relativity and quantum mechanics, the model spends the same amount of computational effort per word of the response. Inference time. Compute. Superintelligence will likely use compute-optimal reasoning. For hard problems, it should pause and run internal simulations or tree searches, similar to how AlphaGo considers millions of future moves before outputting a single word. The OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. By cycling through this loop internally many times before responding, the AI moves from guessing the next word to calculating the best solution. Formal verification. Unlike LLMs that hallucinate facts, a superintelligent system would utilize symbolic logic, math-like rules, to verify that its conclusions are physically and logically sound before presenting them. 3. World models and physical grounding. Language is a high-level abstraction, a shorthand for reality. If you have never felt heat, the word hot is just a statistical neighbor to fire. Superintelligence requires an underlying model of the rules of the game. Intuitive physics. A superintelligence needs to understand the unwritten rules: gravity, friction, fluid dynamics, and object permanence. This is often called physical grounding. Without it, AI cannot reliably innovate in fields like robotics or manufacturing. Causal versus correlative LLMs know that umbrellas and rain appear together. A world model knows that rain causes people to open umbrellas, not the other way around. This allows for counterfactual reasoning, the ability to ask what would happen if I did X instead of Y. Multimodal fusion. True understanding comes from integrating sight, sound, touch, and text into a single, cohesive representation of an object or concept. 4. Continuous and on-the-fly learning. The training versus inference divide is a major bottleneck. Currently, if an LLM learns a new fact today, it cannot remember it tomorrow unless it is manually retrained or the fact is pasted into its context window. Plasticity. Superintelligence needs a plastic architecture, one that can update its weights, its internal knowledge, in real time based on new evidence. Metacognition. The system must know what it doesn't know. Instead of confidently hallucinating, it should recognize a gap in its knowledge and proactively seek out the information. For example, I need to run a simulation to find the melting point of this new alloy. episodic memory. It needs a narrative sense of time, remembering past failures and successes to refine its personality and utility over years of operation. 5. Energy and compute efficiency. We are currently hitting a power wall. Training a frontier model requires a small power plant. Biological intelligence suggests there is a much more efficient way to process information. Sparsity. In the human brain, not every neuron fires at once. In a standard transformer model, every parameter is active for every calculation. Moving towards sparsely activated networks, like mixture of experts, but more extreme, will allow models to be 100 times larger without using 100 times more power. Neuromorphic hardware. Moving away from standard GPS toward chips that process information using spikes, like neurons, could reduce energy consumption by orders of magnitude, allowing superintelligence to run on localized hardware rather than massive data centers. Data efficiency. A human child learns the concept of a dog after seeing 2 or 3 dogs. An AI needs millions of images. Bridging this sample efficiency gap is essential for an AI to learn from the limited data available in the real world. The synthesis. When you combine these 5, agency, reasoning, world modeling, continuous learning, and efficiency, you move away from generative AI and toward artificial general intelligence, AGI, and eventually superintelligence. The AI is no longer just talking about the world. It is living in it, understanding it, and manipulating it to achieve goals. GPT 5.2. If we assume language models, LMs, alone are insufficient for superintelligence, then superintelligence would require a system, not just a model. Most serious proposals converge on several missing ingredients beyond next token prediction. Below is a structured view of what else is needed and why. 1. Persistent goals and agency. Why LMS fall short. LMS are reactive. They respond to prompts but do not initiate action or pursue long-term objectives. What's needed? Explicit goal representations, not just implicit reward modeling. Ability to plan over long horizons. Mechanisms for self-evaluation and course correction. Stable preferences that persist across time and contexts. This turns a model from a tool into an agent. 2. Grounding in the real world. Why LMS fall short. They manipulate symbols without direct contact with reality. What's needed? Perception, vision, audio, sensor motor input. Embodiment, physical or virtual. Closed feedback loops between action to environment to observation. Grounding prevents hallucination at the system level and enables causal understanding. 3. World models and causal reasoning. Why LMS fall short? They infer correlations, not mechanisms. What's needed? Explicit world models that simulate consequences. Causal reasoning, not just statistical association. Counterfactual reasoning. What would happen if? Ability to update beliefs when predictions fail. Superintelligence requires understanding, not just fluency. 4. Memory beyond context. Windows. Why LMS fall short. They forget almost everything. What's needed? Long-term episodic memory, experiences, semantic memory, facts, abstractions, procedural memory, skills, mechanisms for consolidation, forgetting, and retrieval. Intelligence compounds over time only if learning persists. 5. Learning that doesn't require humans in the loop. Why LMS fall short. They depend on massive curated datasets and human feedback. What's needed? Autonomous exploration, self-generated training data, continual learning without catastrophic forgetting. Learning from sparse, delayed, or indirect feedback. Superintelligence must improve itself without being spoon-fed. 6. metacognition, and self-modeling. Why LMS falls short. They do not truly know what they know or don't know. What's needed? Uncertainty estimation, self-monitoring and introspection, ability to reason about its own limitations, model revision, and architecture adaptation. This enables robustness, reliability, and self-improvement. 7. Tool use and infrastructure integration. Why LMS falls short? They are confined to text unless extended. What's needed? Reliable tool calling, code execution, experiments, searches, integration with scientific instruments and simulators, ability to invent and validate new tools. Human intelligence scales through tools. Superintelligence must too. 8. Alignment and value stability. Why LMS falls short? They imitate values, they don't own them. What's needed? Stable value learning, robust alignment under self-improvement, resistance to goal drift, mechanisms for corrigibility and constraint. Without this, capability increases become dangerous rather than intelligent. 9. Architectural diversity, not just bigger transformers. Why LMS falls short? Transformers optimize for language, not cognition. What's needed? Hybrid systems, symbolic plus neural, planning modules, memory systems, search and optimization components, possibly neuromorphic or evolutionary components. Superintelligence is likely heterogeneous, not monolithic. 10. Social and cultural intelligence. Why LMS falls short? They model humans, but do not participate in societies. What's needed? Multi-agent interaction, norm learning, cooperation and competition dynamics, institutional reasoning. Much of human intelligence is collective, not individual. A compact summary. If language models are the brainstem, superintelligence also needs agency plus grounding, plus world models, plus memory, plus autonomous learning, plus metacognition, plus tools, plus alignment, plus architecture, plus social context. Only when these are integrated into a coherent, self-improving system does superintelligence become plausible.